In the galaxy of Warhammer 40,000, there are few things more feared than psykers, and even fewer things feared by psykers. The Culexus Assassin is one of them. Where psykers draw their power from the warp, the Culexus is a black hole in the soul, a void where there should be a presence. No thoughts, no psychic signature, no warmth, just absence. They are blanks, humans born without a warp presence. But the Culexus is something more, something worse. Through brutal modification and arcane technology, the Imperium has turned these living Nulls into its most terrifying weapon. An anti-psyker assassin who doesn't just kill the mind, but unravels it. In this episode, we'll peer into the void and dissect the biology, function, and horror of the Culexus Assassin. We'll examine how the Imperium weaponizes psychic absence, how the soul can be erased, and what happens to those who get too close to the silent mind. They don't speak, they don't scream, they just watch as your soul falls silent. What is a blank? Most humans are connected to the warp, even if they never realize it. A faint psychic echo, a presence, a signature, a soul. But then there are those born without it. They are called blanks, or more formally, pariahs. To the untrained eye, a blank may appear normal, but something is wrong. People avoid them, animals flee, the air feels heavy, conversations die, empathy shuts down. It's not magic, it's not sorcery, it's absence, a fundamental void in the psychic fabric of the universe. Where psykers are beacons in the warp, blanks are black holes. They cannot be sensed psychically. Demons recoil from them, warp entities avoid them. And most unsettling of all, standing near a blank causes acute nausea, emotional suppression, and over time, existential dread. Prolonged exposure can even lead to psychic instability or total mental collapse, especially in the psychically attuned. Some imperial institutions fear blanks, others worship them. The Adeptus Astra Telepathica and the Inquisition track them. The Sisters of Silence recruit them, and the Officio Assassinorum, they weaponize them. Blanks are born, not made, rare, and almost always isolated or abandoned. But those who survive, those with the right potential, are taken, modified, enhanced, and trained to become Culexus Assassins, beings not of silence, but of anti-life. The Culexus Temple and Assassinorum Indoctrination. Of the many temples within the Officio Assassinorum, one stands apart, not because it is feared, but because it is avoided. The Culexus Temple, where the Vindicare trains snipers, the Eversor trains berserkers, and the Kaleidos masters disguise. The Culexus Temple does something more unnatural. It trains voids. Potential candidates, pariahs born with a complete psychic absence, are identified as children, often long before they're even capable of speech. Most don't survive the psychological pressure of simply existing near others. Their presence unravels social connections. They are hated, feared, or driven into exile. But the Officio watches, and when they find a candidate strong enough to endure isolation, they take them. Within the temple, their humanity is peeled back further. Augmetics are implanted. The psychic dead zone that surrounds them is amplified, stabilized, and weaponized. Through psycho-conditioning and neural reprogramming, even basic emotion is dulled. They are trained to become not assassins of flesh, but assassins of souls. The apex of their training is the donning of the animus speculum, a terrifying piece of arcane tech hardwired into their skull. It doesn't project warp energy. It does the opposite. It draws psychic force into the null field and fires it back as soul-annihilating energy. To stand in the presence of a fully trained Culexus Assassin is to stand before anti-being. Even other assassins cannot bear their proximity for long. Their mere presence causes nausea, emotional collapse, and in psykers, sheer animal terror. And that's before they fire a shot. The Culexus Temple does not produce soldiers. It produces weapons so horrifying that the Imperium unleashes them only when all else fails, and even then regrets it. The Null aura, biology of a soul killer. The human body is not designed to be empty. We're all born with a presence in the warp, a psychic echo, even if faint. It's what makes us sentient. It's what makes us us. But the Culexus Assassin, he has none. At the biological level, the Culexus is a paradox. There are no signs of warp interaction, no psychic markers. Even demons struggle to perceive them. What little is known about their condition points to a complete shutdown of the metaphysical self, a congenital failure of the soul. But it's not just absence, it's anti-presence. The Culexus radiates what is called a null aura, an unnatural zone of psychic silence. Within this field, psychic phenomena collapse. Warp energy unravels, sorcery fails, sanity bends. The closer you get, the worse it becomes. For psykers, it's not just discomfort, it's agony. Their nervous system is heavily modified to support this effect. Specialized implants reinforce the aura's stability, focusing it into a controlled field that can be tightened or expanded based on proximity and threat. Their brain is surgically altered to process and suppress external psychic influences, turning what would be dangerous feedback into raw fuel for their most terrifying weapon, the animus speculum. Mounted over the cranium, the speculum doesn't emit warp energy. It inverts it. When activated, it draws in psychic force like a black hole, amplifies the null field, and projects it as a soul-destroying beam, burning out minds, silencing demons, and collapsing psychic shields instantly. To the outside world, it looks like a flash of darkness. To the target, it feels like being unwritten. And the terrifying truth is, the longer a Culexus lives, the stronger their aura becomes. The field grows. Their presence becomes more toxic to psykers, more corrosive to reality. Eventually, they are no longer a person in a suit. They are a walking absence. A mindless psyker can be blinded. A careful psyker can be tricked. But a Culexus, you can't reason with nothing. How the Imperium uses and fears the Culexus Assassin. There are weapons the Imperium unleashes with pride, and then there are weapons it unleashes with dread. The Culexus Assassin belongs to the latter. These assassins are rarely deployed, and when they are, it's never for politic or vendettas. It's for one reason: a psyker too powerful to be stopped by anything else. Demon hosts, rogue alpha-level psykers, sorcerers of chaos, Eldar seers gone mad, entire cults fueled by warp energy. When psychic threats become unstoppable, the officio Assassinorum sends silence, and silence always wins. Culexus assassins are often inserted alone, dropped behind enemy lines, or guided by inquisitors of the Ordo Malleus or Ordo Hereticus. Their presence is so disruptive to psychic networks and warp phenomena that simply being near them can cripple sorceress defenses. disrupt demonic pacts, and cause lesser psykers to hemorrhage and die. But while they are devastating on the battlefield, they are also deeply feared by their own allies. Even hardened inquisitors keep their distance. Battle psykers go mad with proximity. Astartes, librarians, report emotional suppression and suicidal impulses when operating near them. Entire squads have been known to request transfers after a single mission with a Culexus operative. Because the aura doesn't turn off, the horror doesn't stop when the battle ends. There are stories, unconfirmed, of Culexus assassins being quarantined after missions, locked in stasis vaults beneath Terra, guarded not by soldiers, but prayers. And yet, for all that fear, for all that unease, when the Imperium faces a foe it cannot touch, when psychic annihilation is the only option, it sends the only thing worse than a demonic entity. It sends a soul vacuum with a trigger. Outro. We fear what we don't understand. We fear the dark, the void, the loss of self. The Culexus Assassin is that fear, made flesh. He has no soul to corrupt, no thoughts to read, no voice to reason with. Where he walks, the warp recoils. Where he looks, psykers collapse. He is not death. Death is natural. The Culexus is negation. In a galaxy where psychic power shapes reality, he is the counterweight. The one thing the demons of the warp fear more than a bolter or a holy relic. And the most terrifying part, he doesn't kill out of hate or rage or belief. He kills because it's what he was made for. He is the Imperium's most secretive blade, the quiet that falls before the mind breaks. The last thing a psyker feels before their thoughts are swallowed. In the grim darkness of the far future, silence is a weapon, and the Culexus is holding the trigger.